It's been 25 years since the relationship of John Wayne and Lorena Bobbitt made international headlines. After years of alleged abuse by John, Lorena cut off her husband's penis.
Then a penis.
In the bedroom, the mighty bedroom, John Bobbitt sleeps tonight. In the kitchen, the mighty kitchen, Lorena grabs a knife.
Lorena Bobbitt goes on trial for maliciously wounding her husband, and a lot of people are watching.
A weenie whack, a weenie whack.
The following content contains mature subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. On the evening of June 23, 1993, John Bobbitt was sleeping peacefully in his bed. That is, until his wife, Lorena Bobbitt, entered their bedroom and cut off his penis with a knife.
Just a quick word from our sponsor. If you are not familiar with True Smile veneers, they are fully removable cosmetic veneers that fit over top of your original teeth. Basically, you send away these molds or impressions that get mailed to your house, and they will make you a custom pair of veneers that will fit over top of your teeth, similar to a retainer, except for they're literally as thin as a contact lens. I absolutely love these, and I've been using them for like 5 years. I don't wear them all the time, but you can. I personally love them for like on stage or flash photography or anything like that. You can currently save $70 US off using the code SPARKS70 at checkout, and that is at www.truesmileveneers.com. And thank you so much to True Smile Veneers for setting me up a discount code to share with you guys. If you are interested in learning more about True Smile Veneers or saving $70 off your own pair, I will leave more information down in the description box with the website and also a link to this video that you see here on screen. And all that being said, let's get back into the video.
After suffering years of emotional and physical abuse from her husband, Lorena Bobbitt cut off John Wayne Bobbitt's penis on June 23, 1993. But there's much more to this story than meets the eye. While her husband was writhing in pain, Lorena drove off around Northern Virginia and threw her husband's severed penis into a field. Then she drove to a friend's house and called the police, offering a rough description of the location where she thought her husband's penis had come to rest. The incident skyrocketed the couple to infamy as their trial made national headlines and aired almost continuously on CNN.
Welcome to CNN Prime News. I'm Deborah Potter in for Bernard Shaw in Washington.
And I'm Susan Rook at CNN Center in Atlanta. Thank you for joining us. Here's a quick look at what's ahead on Prime News. Testimony begins in a court case that has attracted international attention and been the source of countless off-color jokes. Here, John Wayne Bobbitt described what happened the night his wife cut off his penis.
The trouble was huge.
Court TV is bringing the proceedings into millions of homes.
People were like, that's crazy.
This story was irresistible.
Everybody was looking to get an interview.
In the days that followed, an avid public watched and wondered, how did it come to this?
Guilt or innocence will come down to whom the jurors believe.
What did he do to make her do something like that?
Seems clear that the relationship between John Wayne Bobbitt and Lorena Bobbitt was rocky from the beginning. But beyond that, in regards to the incident, the two agreed on almost nothing. Their accounts diverged sharply, sometimes even from their own previous explanations. Upon her arrest, a distraught Lorena claimed that her husband's selfishness in the bedroom had driven her to pick up the knife. "He always have orgasm and he doesn't wait for me ever to have orgasm," she told them. "He's selfish." This raised quite a few eyebrows before Lorena elaborated on a second set of far more serious grievances.
The malicious wounding trial of Lorena Bobbitt began today in Manassas, Virginia. She has admitted emasculating her husband last June. Earlier today, she pleaded not guilty to the charge. This is believed to be a first step in a defense of insanity. Her attorney, Lisa Kemmler, told the jury in her opening remarks that Lorena Bobbitt was driven to the act by years of abuse.
Psychiatric disorders were the product of the years of violence and abuse that she had suffered at the hands of her husband, and that they combined to cause her to experience what Dr. Feaster will tell you was an acute psychotic break.
Lorena Bobbitt claimed that John was physically and emotionally abusive toward her for years, and that he had raped her the night of the attack. Her defense claimed that she had been suffering from depression and post-traumatic stress disorder as a result of the abuse.
And it was as a result of that that she was unable to overcome any ability to control her impulse to defend herself. In the end, ladies and gentlemen, what we have is Lorena Bobbitt's life juxtaposed against John Wayne Bobbitt's penis.
The stress of her unstable situation had driven her to temporary insanity, forcing her to violent action.
The evidence will show that in her mind, it was his penis from which she could not escape, which caused her the most pain, the most fear, the most humiliation. And I submit to you that at the end of this case, you will come to one conclusion, and that is that a life is more valuable than a penis.
When Prime News returns, we'll hear what John Bobbitt had to say.
John Bobbitt denied the allegations of abuse and rape, though his story changed throughout his questioning. He first claimed that the couple had not had sex that evening, then changed his story and asserted that Lorena had attempted to initiate sex, but he had declined. After briefly trying to convince the court that he might have had sex while he was asleep, he finally admitted to having been aware of sexual activity that evening.
I fell asleep, after I initially tried to have sex, and just fell asleep, and just right after that, laying on my back, I woke up noticing she was just fondling with my midsection.
But, he emphasized, it was consensual. Both prosecution and defense, however, admitted to the abuse, though John Wayne Bobbitt would not agree that it had ever culminated in rape. Eventually, after 7 hours of deliberation, the jury found Lorena Bobbitt not guilty by reason of temporary insanity. She was sentenced to 45 days in a psychiatric hospital, during which time she underwent an extensive mental evaluation. She was released at the end of her stay with a clean bill of health. John Bobbitt, who had also gone to trial, was acquitted on charges of marital sexual assault. Though many reports attempted to cast one or the other spouse in the role of either heroic victim or wicked abuser, the bizarre tale made it difficult to paint things in black and white. The press at times tried to portray the 23-year-old Venezuelan-born Lorena Bobbitt as a starry-eyed immigrant whose hopes of achieving the American dream were dashed when she realized the handsome Marine she married was an abuser and inveterate cheater. And yet, the media had to contend with the fact that while Lorena had indeed called 911 on John several times, John had also called 911 on Lorena. In 1991, Lorena was caught embezzling $7,200 from her boss, a decision she would later claim she made while under terrible financial strain because John Wayne Bobbitt was out of work. In 1992, the couple separated, but then got back together the following year. They had already decided to separate again when Lorena picked up the knife on the night of June 23rd. "Fearing my life," she said, as she would later tell the court. But John's friend and drinking companion, who was crashing on the couple's couch that night and would later rush his friend to the hospital, claimed that Lorena, on her way out the door with her husband's severed penis, stole John's Game Boy and $100 from his wallet. Then there was the fact that her initial distressed confession seemed to suggest that she had cut off her husband's penis because he never brought her to orgasm. In short, though Lorena Bobbitt's account of spousal abuse was persuasive and heart-wrenching, the proceedings muddied the waters, and the trial became bogged down in strange third-party accounts and seemingly interminable rehashing of petty squabbles from the couple's history. But if Lorena's story raised questions, it was nothing compared to John Wayne Bobbitt's. John Bobbitt's changing story about the couple's sexual activity on the night Lorena Bobbitt took a knife to his penis had already badly undermined his credibility, and the rest of his account didn't particularly help. He accused his wife of having cut off his genitals because she couldn't bear the thought of another woman having him. The pair were, after all, about to separate. But he also charged her with having done it in a desperate bid to stay married to him in order to secure her green card. She was just 1 year short of the required 5 years of marriage. His story varied wildly, and even the prosecution had to concede that he had been both physically and emotionally abusive to Lorena in the past. But it was what he did after the trial that lent credibility to his wife's accusations, and perhaps put her struggle into perspective. John's severed penis had been recovered from the field in which Lorena had thrown it and miraculously reattached after a 9.5-hour surgery, and he was keen to let the world know that his manhood was fully operational. In the following months, John Bobbitt took every opportunity to show off his reattached appendage. After appearing on Howard Stern's show, he received the gift of a penis enlargement surgery from the shock jock himself. He then went on to appear in several adult films, including John Wayne Bobbitt, Uncut, and Frankenpenis. But his exhibitionist period revealed more than his new member. It also pulled back the curtain on his character. Though his new lifestyle introduced him to new women, some things stayed the same. He was convicted of misdemeanor domestic battery against a girlfriend and spent 60 days behind bars. In the following years, when the money from his film career and 40-city tour dried up, he was arrested on 3 separate occasions on charges of battery. His third wife, the victim on each occasion. It doesn't come as a shock to learn that as of 2016, John Bobbitt was single and perpetually short on cash. He returned to the surgeon who enlarged his penis and asked for a redo. His member is now restored to its original size as it was before it met with either Lorena Bobbitt's or a surgeon's knife. But Lorena's story is the surprising one. While John Wayne Bobbitt was milking his 15 minutes of fame for all they were worth, Lorena Bobbitt kept a low profile. After the divorce, she began using her maiden name and working at a beauty salon. Aside from a minor run-in with the law over an argument with her mother that turned violent, she mostly kept out of the spotlight. Eventually, she began a relationship with another man, a slow one this time, that started as a friendship and then remarried.
I'm joined by Lorena Gallo, formerly known as Lorena Bobbitt. She joins me from Los Angeles today. Lorena, thank you very much for your time.
Surrounded by family and happily married with one daughter, she finally has her American dream. And she's doing one better. In 2007, Lorena Bobbitt started a foundation to prevent domestic violence and offer support to its victims.
Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely. It has been 25 years since the incident which captured the world's attention. Reporters came from everywhere.
Yes, the Me Too movement have helped raise awareness, but it's still a lot more work to do in order to educate and raise awareness. That's why it's important to raise awareness about this sexual assaults and domestic violence. And again, the Time's Up, the Me Too movement have actually helped break the stigma of sexual harassment and sexual assault. But again, there's a lot of work to be done.
The John and Lorena Bobbitt case brought domestic abuse into the national spotlight, and Lorena is doing her best to make sure the issue doesn't fade into the background, though she wishes the sensational aspects of her story would. But unfortunately for Lorena, that seems unlikely, and that is why we're making this video today, to perpetuate this story so that everybody in this new generation just couldn't live without it. Her case had a profound and lingering effect on the national consciousness. Though the brief spate of copycat crimes died out, the term Bobbitized became the word for any crime involving a penis removal and even made its way into medical terminology. In honor of the case, a worm that uses scissor-like jaws to kill its prey became known as the Bobbitt worm. And then there are the lingering jokes and memes, the t-shirts and the limericks that make the case a landmark in American culture, one that isn't going away anytime soon. Even in 2019, Amazon produced a documentary series called Lorena that re-examined the case and offered a perspective that focused on Lorena's victimhood and how, as Amazon put it, her suffering was ignored by the male-dominated press. More than a quarter century later, there's still more to untangle in this case that was so often reduced to a punchline. But that is it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give this video a great big thumbs up. If you'd like to, you can check me out on Patreon. I am trying to reach my goal of 5 active patrons before the end of August. If you'd like to check that out, it's www.patreon.com/JordanJSparks. And you can sign up for as little as $5 per month American for early access and for Patreon exclusive content that will be posted nowhere else. And as well, I would like to thank True Smile Veneers for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in getting a bright Hollywood smile by True Smile Veneers, make sure to check that out down in the description box and use code SPARK70 for $70 off your order. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!